What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Rassslin here on webchannel24.com, and this is a news break. So we are going to be talking today about an amazing thing that has happened. I've actually watched some WWE this past week and actually really thoroughly enjoyed a lot of it. Now, before you guys go crazy, before you think that I have lost my mind, let me tell you the reason why this is. WWE over the past couple of months has slowly been doing a lot better with its storytelling practices. They are telling a lot of long-term stories, a lot of long-term booking, as it's called in the business, and a lot of stuff that actually has turned out to be pretty good and pretty dramatic. Now, it is still in WWE's style of sports entertainment, where the drama and the acting takes precedent over the actual wrestling and actual wrestling match. But that doesn't mean that that's a bad style. As I've always said, if WWE does its sports entertainment well, it's fine. The problem is they just don't do sports entertainment well. I can enjoy sports entertainment instead of a traditional wrestling show, but you've got to do it the right way. Now, I will say, a couple things have stood out to me, and one of them actually was wrestling. Now, the first one of these things is the whole Roman Reigns, Jey Uso thing, which has been done really magnificently well. Again, for a sports entertainment angle, not a pro wrestling angle. The Hell in a Cell match was, and I've seen certain people say that it was, it's a 5-star match, a match of the year. Again, I don't do star ratings, but I thought it was an interesting match. I didn't particularly care for it as a wrestling match, but it was a good story match. It was a storyline match. That was the purpose of the match, was to tell a storyline and advance a storyline. It was to get from where we were to the next part in this story, as opposed to it being a focus on, we want to see this match. So for that, that Hell in a Cell match did wonders. It was brutal. It was hard. There was a lot of heart in it. Roman did a lot of acting. Jey did a lot of acting. There was a lot of emotion in that match, and I think for what it was, it did what it did very, very well. Following that up on this week's WWE TV, seeing Jey Uso then have to take on Daniel Bryan, who was kind of the sacrificial lamb for all this stuff, is his metamorphosis from sympathetic face to kind of slave baby heel took place, which is actually ironic, the fact that pathway went through Daniel Bryan, who himself several years ago went through a similar path when he was indoctrinated by the Wyatt family and was kind of subservient to Bray Wyatt for a while. But the way they did it here, it's less nuanced. Again, the thing that I kind of don't like about it is WWE over explains everything because it assumes its audience is stupid, so they have to explain everything and beat you over the head with it. I prefer a little bit more nuance and subtlety, so I can kind of see things and go, oh. But again, for what WWE does, this is pretty damn good. I can't really complain too much about it outside of the fact it's just not my particular style. But for the style it is, it's done amazingly well. I think they've really done a good job at finally getting the Roman Reigns that a lot of people wanted to see. Roman is now being able to be that kind of badass guy that we all thought he could be. Anybody who's seen him in real life interviews knows that he's got this kind of swag about him that we had, until this year, I don't think we've actually seen too much of that on WWE TV. So kudos to WWE, whoever is coming up with this, whether it's Vince or Bruce Pritchard or whoever, Paul Heyman, whoever's doing it. This is a great story arc with Roman and Jey Uso, and I'm only interested to see now where it's going to go now that Jey is basically Roman Reigns' slave, I guess. The other thing is the ongoing story with Bayley and Sasha Banks, which has taken another turn. Of course, Sasha has now won the SmackDown Women's Championship. A championship that's eluded her. She never had the Women's Championship. She's had the tag title. She's had the Raw Women's Championship. She's been NXT Women's Champion, of course, but she never had the SmackDown Championship. She is now a Grand Slam winner, of course, in WWE, having held all the women's titles in the company. Bayley, however, is now, and I love this little detail that they put into this, is that Bayley thinks that Sasha is right because Sasha Banks, even though she's won all those titles, she doesn't hold them for very long. And that was one of the big complaints when they brought her up to the main roster, and her and Charlotte traded the Raw Women's Championship back and forth. Sasha's won all these titles, but her title it's almost kind of null and void because she always loses in the first or second defense of the title. So is it really that important that she's won it so many times when she never actually successfully defends them? Bayley brings up the point that the only time Sasha was able to hold on to a championship is because of Sasha, or because of Bayley, because Bayley was either backing her up or when they were women's tag team champions. So these are nice wrinkles. I love, again, this is another good story where they've expanded it out and really gone deep with the storyline. It's good sports entertainment stuff. I'm really digging it. However, then of course there is the rest of this stuff on Raw and SmackDown, which, you know, the Otis thing, I'm not really wild about. Miz being in the Money in the Bank, it could be interesting. Randy Orton, of course, is still doing great work, so I want to see where it goes with I'm mainly focused on those two storylines. I still, for some reason, have not been able to catch the Bray Wyatt, Alexa Bliss stuff. I need to go. I don't watch, again, there's the way I watch Raw and WWE essentially now is I really only watch the pay-per-views and then catch clips on YouTube. So I'm not getting all the other stuff. And when I have tried to watch Raw and SmackDown, I often find that there's like 45 minutes of stuff that I really wish I hadn't watched. And then there's 10 to 15 minutes of like the Roman Jade stuff and the Sasha and Bayley stuff and whatever crazy stuff Asuka's doing this week. Now, the wrestling part of WWE that was really good this week came up in WWE's NXT UK brand. Oh my God, Walter and Dragunov. If you have not watched NXT UK, if you have not seen what they're doing with this rivalry between these two wrestlers and the match that they had on NXT UK this past week, again, for me, I like in-ring stuff. I watch wrestling to watch wrestling matches. The better the performance, the better I like the show. I'm a big fan of, obviously, those of you who are watching my channel know I really like Japanese wrestling and I like strong style matches. This was British strong style by Dragunov and Walter, and it is brilliant violence. That's all I can really say about it. If you haven't checked it out, check it out, man. Now, Dragunov did not manage to beat Walter. The reason he got this championship shot is because he beat Walter in a tag match, which is, again, brilliant booking. You don't really need, this is the other side of, you know, this is more the pro wrestling side, not the sports entertainment side. Sports entertainment side, you need all these elaborate plots and stories and everything else. For the pro wrestling side, it's competition, like every other sport in the world. And the interest is from competition. In fact, being that it's Sunday, and I just, as a Baltimorean and a Baltimore Ravens fan, it was Steeler week this week. Our the Ravens' arch rival is the Steelers. It was another fantastic game. Unfortunately, we lost at the very last second. But that is drama, like, and this is why I say I prefer sports presentation. The drama from watching something like that, and the drama from watching something like Dragunov and Walter, kind of eclipses all of this kind of convoluted stuff. Even though, again, like I said, the stuff that they're doing on the main roster of Roman and Jay and Bayley and Sasha is really good for sports entertainment, but it's not my cup of tea. My cup of tea, when it comes to anything that's sports-oriented, is sports-oriented drama. And you don't need to, reinvent the wheel with that stuff. It works because it works. It taps into some primal things about winning and losing and being competitive and standing up for yourself. And this match was just a lot of hard hitting. If you like hard hitting action, if you haven't watched a lot of WWE, because typically the in-ring product is not really great most of the time. It's kind of very repetitive. This is British strong style on NXT UK. This is a great wrestling match that you normally don't see in WWE, and I absolutely recommend you checking it out this week. So that's my update on WWE this week. That's really all I looked at in WWE this week. I will be trying to watch SmackDown because I watched Raw 2 weeks ago. I watched 45 minutes of it, and everybody told me I should be watching SmackDown. So I am going to try to watch SmackDown. I'm usually not home on Fridays. I'm usually doing things and hanging out with people, but I will try to watch SmackDown this Friday and see if the show is as good as people are telling me that it is. And I've heard a lot of great stuff about it. But I want to know what you guys think about all this stuff. Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. Of course, if you like the video, share the video, hit the like button, tweet about it, put it up on Facebook, Reddit, wherever you talk about pro wrestling and sports entertainment. I do have a Patreon. Patreon post will be coming up this week. For those of you who've already signed up, thank you very much. There are 2 tiers. I will be doing a Q&A session along with an extra edition of my podcast this week for the subscribers at the $3 mark, and for the higher mark, we will be doing a watch along. It will be a Monday Night Wars watch along this month for the upper tier members of my Patreon. If you want to see it, it's at patreon.com/Rassslin Rantin, RASSLIN RANTIN, and you can sign up there. Until then, I will see you guys for more news, rumors, and commentary right here on Rassslin on webchannel24.com. Have a good day.